Hey everyone, welcome back to Unfolding the Stars, Star Goddess Tarot Readings. So I had just recently started the video. However, I'm working out of my car today, and for some reason my camera does not want to stay, so it keeps falling off, so it exited me out of the video. So I already have the cards that are pre-pulled. So we're going to go ahead and jump right back in and see how this unfolds. So for the first card we got effort. Spirit says, how many of you out there have been on this spiritual journey and you have been giving it your all? You've been putting in so much effort that you're feeling impatient because you're ready to see the final and end results. I know that's where I'm at. You know, after all these years of doing the healing work, after all these years of really understanding what my path with the divine truly means, it's like I'm finally at that finishing line and I am ready to close the chapters to the past and begin the new. But my patience have been kind of kicking up because there's always going to be little hiccups. Spirit says, when we're putting our efforts in, we've got to understand that there's always going to be ups and downs because we're not the only ones included in making what we're designing happen. Do you know what I mean? We're co-creating with the universe. We're co-creating with other individuals that are on our path that are sent to help us and guide us through whatever transition it is that we're going through. Spirit says, what transition are you going through at this very moment? And then it's something major. You know, at this point in time, I am transitioning. My life is about to be totally transformed into a whole new beginning, a whole new life. All the efforts that I have been giving throughout these years, I never could imagine that this door that is opening up for me, that is making way within divine timing, is finally here. After all the years of putting in the efforts, the tears, the sweat, the blood, the heartache, you know what I mean? The releasing, the healing. I never imagined that my blessings would truly be as big as they are. You know, with all the efforts that I've been putting in, I was one who never had patience. I wanted my blessings here and now. It was like, okay, I worked today, now I want my money. You know what I mean? And Spirit's like, it's not like that. Spirit says, it's like at a job. If we were to work that one day and then get paid, we'll go blow our money and we're not going to have what we need for the bills and whatnot because we're just going to go spend what we have right away. So we're not giving it time to accumulate. So when we're at that job, and we're having to put in our 2 weeks and then we get paid our paycheck, it's like that. It's like having divine timing. You put in the effort, you show the universe what you're wanting to co-create. And as you put in the efforts throughout the years, as everything that I have been building and healing and co-creating, all the efforts that I never imagined could be this big, it's finally coming to fruition. I've been taking a few days off to kind of relax and enjoy my bed. Like, this is a time that those hiccups have arisen. I'm learning how to understand that there's things that I can control and the things that are out of my control, I got to learn to release the need to control and get out of my own way. I got to stop thinking about it. I got to stop and understand that my efforts, my part of co-creating is done. Now I got to enjoy the relaxation and rejoice in the receiving. And I don't know how to do that. How many of us out there, we don't know how to accept the happiness, the joy. We don't know how to stop working and putting in all that effort. Well, that's part of co-creating with the universe, is loving ourselves after we've put in so much hard work throughout these years, throughout all the hardness that I've been working with my therapist, through everything that I'm doing. I never knew that God could show up for me the way that he has when I showed up for God. When you put in all the efforts and you really take the time to love yourself and heal yourself, in that aspect, that's meaning that you're loving God and you're understanding God. When you love yourself and you take time for yourself and you really heal, you could not believe the effort that you have put in throughout the years, throughout the impatience, everything that I wanted then, that I really wasn't ready to receive, that's been in play. God says in divine timing, as we're co-creating and it takes years to finally begin to receive these blessings, it's because we've got a lot of chapters in our life that we need to close out. But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of, dedication, love, compassion, healing. As I began to do that and I took the effort, I started searching for who I was. We got from separation to oneness. That's when I began walking my spiritual path and my journey. When my life got turned upside down from living in the world of darkness to finally pulling myself up and getting myself out and finding the light. As I began to heal and find that light, I began to find my purpose in this divine life. I began to understand that we all are special. We all have a special journey that we were meant to walk. But the only way to walk that journey, to see that journey, to go from separation to oneness is to walk through the darkness, is to walk through the fire, not stand in the fire and allow ourselves to be consumed. You know, it's like when we're burning, if we're walking through that fire and it hurts, we're not going to stand there, right? We want to continue to get out of it. That's what happens throughout the spiritual journey. It's all the emotions. It's everything that you're learning to heal and release. And as you're walking through the fire of the trauma, the hurt, and the past, you're learning that you're not separated from anyone, from anything, that we are all one, that this is all oneness. When I was going throughout my journey before I was healed, I always felt separated from the world. Spirit says, how many of you out there have always felt separated, always felt different, always felt strange, never felt accepted, never felt wanted? You always felt separate from the rest of your family, the rest of your friends, the rest of the world. You could be surrounded by even people that were similar to you, but at the same time, you still felt separate. I know I did, because no one understood the traumas that I went through. Nobody's me. At the end of the day, we can all experience a similar experience, but we all experience it differently. When we're experiencing things differently, we tend to separate ourselves, and we're believing like, I'm the only one going through this. Their trauma is different than mine. We're continuously separating ourselves. Like me, I'm a recovering addict. You know, it'd be like me saying, oh, well, I'm healed and they're still doing their thing, but I'm me now. No, I'm all one. You know what I mean? They're my soul family. At the end of the day, the darkness life that I lived, I'm not ashamed of who I am. Just because I'm healed doesn't mean that I still got to continue to come from a separate space. As I began to heal, it was a lonely journey. I felt like that lone wolf, and you do walk it alone. As I did that, I was separated once again. So always feeling separated. When I began my spiritual journey, I was separated from my family. I was separated from everyone, seeing who meant me well and who didn't, learning how to set boundaries. I mean, at that point when I was healing, I felt separate. When I was using drugs and alcohol and in my own bubble, I felt separated. When someone that I loved dearly passed away, I felt separated. How many of us have been put through so many situations that we feel separate? Well, I felt separate my whole life, even throughout my healing journey. And I thought, if I'm with God, why am I lonely? Why am I feeling separate? Not understanding that in order to heal, you have to be separate from the world to figure out who you are without everybody else in your ear telling you who they think you are. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I learned to realize that being separate wasn't the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Being separated was actually the most amazing gift and blessing that could have ever happened to me. Learning to be alone with myself, learning to love myself, learning to be my own best friend. It was a struggle learning to be alone with my emotions, my thoughts that ran wild, you know, knowing that I felt insane when I was doubling up my therapies before I got help, you know, when I had personality disorders. You don't know how much I did not want to be alone with myself. I feared being alone with self. I did not love myself. I didn't know myself. I saw what I was capable of when I was in not good states. I saw what I was capable of when I was loving. So at that point, I was afraid to be in separation because, to be all honest with you, I was afraid of self. I was afraid of all the conversations that were in my head. I was afraid of all those different parts of me that were speaking louder than the true part of me really was. Feeling separate, at the same time, I didn't feel separate. How many of us out there have had personality disorders or struggled with a lot of mental disorders? When you're feeling separate, and you don't feel separate because your own thoughts are running wild. You're healing many persons. You're hearing many thoughts, many judgments, many anger parts. You're hearing it all. You're separate, but at the same time, you're not feeling separate. Do you know what I'm trying to get at? So this is what I was feeling. Separate from everyone, separate from the world, but yet insane from the inside. Not understanding that at the end of the day, everything was oneness. So as I was on this journey, walking that path to oneness, to understand, for the next card we got, wise action, I started making those wise actions no matter how hard it was, no matter how dark it got, no matter when I could not see, I began to trust the unknown. When Spirit told me that my gifts and my blessings were going to unfold, that I had to just put in that work, that I had to make that effort, that things wouldn't come to fruition as quick as I thought. So as I began to take those wise actions, not asking why anymore, just going with the flow, I started seeing little blessings coming into fruition, little gifts here and there, you know what I mean? Learning how to heal, learning how to manifest, understanding what oneness really meant. As I started doing the wise actions and understanding that the world wasn't just about me, that I needed to get out of my ego and say, it's about healing everybody. It's about how everybody feels. It's about what everybody is going through. You know what I mean? So as I began to take these wise actions, things just beautifully started unfolding for me. You know what I'm saying? Wow, that was quick. So we got redemption. Exactly. So as I went through this, I started redeeming myself. Spirit says, how many of us out there, we've done a lot of negative to other individuals. We've done a lot of negative to ourselves. We have co-created a lot of nastiness. You know what I mean? Trust me, I was no saint. Throughout the trauma in my life, being wounded as a child and being raised and hurt, I did a lot. I did a lot of dirt. You know what I mean? I ain't no innocent lady here. I did. And at the end of the day, I ended up having to pay for that. But throughout our journey, how many times have we fallen off and we've fallen into addictions, no matter what that looks like? You know, that could even be a food addiction. We go from being skinny to blowing up, and we fall into that trap. You know, we go into anorexia like me, and we end up going from being a nice plump size to looking different than we could ever imagine. You know, going from even addictions, you know, we're looking good and healthy from the gym, and then the next thing you know, you're seeing us and we're all drugged out and drunk. You know what I mean? So I've played a lot of different roles. I've shown people a lot of different faces of me when I was not doing too good. So now it's not about redeeming myself for other individuals. It's about redeeming myself for me. You know, it's about showing the world that that's not who I was. That's not who I am. That, you know, even though we make mistakes and our world blows up just like that, and we leave a mark on the world showing that this is who we were, instead of judging, take a step back and ask, how many situations have we put ourselves in? How many times have we been an alcoholic or abused or used drugs? How many times have we abused food? How many times have we abused finances? You know, instead of accusing and blaming other individuals for what they look like now and being like, oh, I used to know that person, now look at them on the street. No, you know what I mean? It's not about seeing anyone or anything separate, because at the end of the day, struggles are struggles and they're real. Do you know what I mean? So I've been understanding and learning to heal and release and let go. And I'm redeeming all of this for self. Spirit says, when we finally rise up and we decide to make those wise choices and wise decisions, God says that he redeems us from those who spoke ill about us, those who projected and pretended to make up lies and say that we were still using, or that we still were this, or we still were that. Spirit says, when we have co-created and we're making the wise choices and we're not lashing out at other individuals that have meant us harm, that have talked ill about us and put up a facade that we were who we used to be. You know, when other individuals as well see that we've healed and they still don't want to see us for who we are, God says when we have followed him wholeheartedly and took the time to know him enough to heal ourselves and love ourselves, that he redeems us. When we don't fight the battles, when we don't care about what is going on out there about us, you know, all the negative talk, the lies, you know, everybody makes us out to be who we once were, but that wasn't who we truly were meant to be. As we're building ourselves up, Spirit says, how many of you out there have people that have been putting you down and going behind your back. At the end of the day, Spirit says, we're going to be redeemed from that. We're burning that fire within us. Is like we finally walked through the fire. We didn't stand and let it consume us. We co-created, we healed, and we walked through. We released and let go of all the negativeness that we had been holding on to. So as we're redeeming self for God, and we're showing God, like, look, I love myself. I want to heal. I want to be better. As we're redeeming self, God's redeeming us to the world. As people have been putting me down and making up lies, God has been bringing beautiful individuals and doors that have been opening to help me to co-create with the universe, for God to show what the journey really looks like when you follow God, the blessings, the doors, the redemption that comes along when you don't fight back, when you don't allow the negative to consume you. Embodiment. When you begin to heal on this journey and you embody the essence of God, the essence of the divine, when you finally realize who God is and you heal and love yourself to understand who He is, that He's love. When you love yourself enough, and that's meaning you love God, you're embodying love. And what is this whole world about? Love, co-creating. What is God about? Love. So as you're embodying it, you're learning not to put that negative out into the world. You're embodying forgiveness. You're embodying compassion. You're embodying healing. You're embodying understanding. You're embodying the effort to co-creating consciously with what you're creating. Do you know what I'm saying? For the next card, we got equanimity. The Spirit wants me to read a little bit from this one and see where this one is going to take us. All right. So Spirit says, you do not always control the circumstances of your life, but you do control how you see things and how you respond. And this is what determines your inner experience. Train yourself to see both sides of all that occurs and to transcend your judgments so you can reside in an open-hearted state of peace. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm used to being in control. So as my doors and blessings are opening, I'm learning to pull back and understand that I can do what I need to that's in my control and release the need of that I cannot control. Do you know what I mean? And this is what determines my inner peace. I decided to get out of my mind, stop looking at the clock and waiting for the doors to open for divine timing to happen. And I decided to get out of my own way, get myself dolled up, come out to my classes and what I need to get done. I did some yoga this morning. I embraced Mother Earth, got outside. I hadn't done yoga in a few days because I've been so in my head and busy going with the efforts of co-creating that I needed to bring balance to my life. So in order to do that, I got back into my yoga this morning. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning that that's what determines our inner peace. So Spirit says, when we're learning to have patience and we're learning to co-create with the universe, when we understand what divine timing looks like and what it really means, like that paycheck, we're understanding that we need to train ourselves to see both sides that occurs and let go of judgment. Stop asking, okay, why is this not happening quick enough? Why is this not? I'm ready, but they're not. Spirit's wanting us to see both sides. Like with what's going on within my life right now, I got to understand that there's, their side that I got to take into consideration. It's like paperwork and discussions and so many things that take part. It's like that our paycheck, after we put in our hours, we got to clock in and clock out. We got to let them know what's going on. Then our hours get sent over. Then they got to add them up. Then they got to put it in. Were we sick? Did we take holiday pay? Then they add it up. Then they put it in the system. Then they issue out the checks. So it's that divine timing. It's that, waiting and understanding that both sides take time. So once your effort is over, we can't expect that part to come into full fruition because we needed to do our part and allow them to do their part. So I'm training myself to see both sides and to keep an open heart because I already know that these blessings are mine. Do you know what I mean? Spirit says equanimity is one of the core teachings of the Gita and yoga in general. It is referred to in many verses throughout this text and is found in other seminal works such as the Upanishads and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The opening lines of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali says, yoga union integration, and equilibrium comes when the sensation of the fluctuations of consciousness. When we experience this state of yoga, we abide in our true nature, which is peace, love, and wisdom. Oh my gosh. At other times, however, we become identified with the fluctuations of consciousness, forget who we are, and react to things going on around us. And that was what was happening to me. I was being impatient. I kept watching the clock. I've been waiting, and I've been, I wanted a text message, which I did. I ended up text messaging to see what was happening. Spirit says when we're going through that, give them time. Don't call, don't text, give them that time. Take your time to sit within the receiving mode, relax, watch TV, go out into nature, enjoy the moments of whatever it is that you're doing before the doors close, before whatever it is that you're trying to co-create with the universe comes into fruition, because this is going to be it before that final door closes, And so Spirit's telling me that my yoga was a good thing, because without that, it's hard for me to get into the right headspace, and I'm too busy letting the outer world control me. You know what I mean? So as I got out and I did yoga and connected with nature today, like I was saying, it brought me peace, love, and wisdom, and I'm out of my own way, and I'm feeling that inner state of peace. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning how to not react to what is not in my control. You know what I mean? So let's see, for the next card that we got the calling of the soul. So yeah, I've been hearing the calling of my soul as I've been walking through every door, every blessing that God's Spirit has put in my path. I've heard that calling loud and clear. I know where I belong. I know what's unfolding for me. I'm in no rush, because as I've been on this journey, look at me, the view has never been more beautiful. My past has never been more beautiful. My future's never been more beautiful, as I'm integrating everything into one and understanding that nothing is separate, that my past isn't separate from my future, that everything is entwined. My past created who I am today, and without the hardships, without the darkness, the sadness, the joys, the playfulness in the past, without all of that, I wouldn't be able to have heard the calling of the soul, because throughout the darkness and the struggles is where I found self, where I found the true calling of who I am. Yep, and love for all. I have learned that it's all about love, you know what I'm saying? And I've got love for self, love for all, love for everything that's surrounding me, Like I said, nothing is separate. As you integrate yourself, as you integrate who you truly are through your healing process, and you begin to heal, you figure out that love for all. You do have love. When I could never love certain neighbors, when I could never love certain friends, when I couldn't love certain family members, when I was angry, when I did the healing, I understood that hurt people, and I was one of them. I was no different. So how can I judge them when I didn't want to be judged self? I understood that I have love for all. For the next card, we got the heart. Oh my God. So yeah, at the end of the day, my heart is fully open. I'm ready to receive all my blessings, everything that is meant to be. As I'm waiting on this divine timing, I had to get out of my own way and follow the heart. My heart was telling me this morning, get out there and do yoga, get out there, co-create with Mother Earth, get out there and clean the yard, get out there and just feel that fresh air, get out there, get to temple, get to Tibetan class. And here I am, get out there and make a video. As I've been co-creating, making the effort to make my blessings come into fruition, I have been having to put my videos on hold a little bit, because, when we got to switch up and we got to understand that we cannot handle everything. We got to learn to delegate and, do one thing at a time. As I was following my heart and understanding what needed to get done first, I was in my head too much that I was losing it. I was like, oh my God, all this time I could be making these videos, getting out of my own way as they're doing their side. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to get back to my videos and what I was doing prior to the blessing that's coming my way. So I'm continuing to still follow my heart, getting on here, making these videos. I mean, it always gets my heart going, from making these videos, from the first time I ever got on, from being scared and fearful when God was guiding me to get on. And I was like, nah, dude, I don't want to get on. I don't want to speak my truth. I'm embarrassed. I'm shy to being looking forward to the moment that I get alone time to be able to make the effort and co-create with the universe, and make these videos. I wanted to jump on today and let everyone know about my journey and how it's going and what it's looking like. The more that I've been putting in the effort, I mean, my blessings are just bigger than I could have ever imagined. You know, years ago when I never thought that any of this was possible, when I thought God was fake, when I thought he really wasn't by my side, when I was struggling in the darkness, when I thought I was almost to take my last breath, when I didn't believe, to seeing what's unfolding right in front of me, seeing the efforts, understanding that all these years I needed to put in the work. You know, I needed to love myself. And even though I got little blessings, I was grateful for every little thing, because that's what led up to the big blessings. That's what led up to me putting in even more effort. You know, as I began to see that God was on my side, opening doors, that the struggles really weren't for nothing, that all that pain was worth something, that it was going to be as big as it is, that these efforts, oh my God, I can't tell you how beautiful and how amazing it truly is. You know what I mean? I've been painting that beautiful empty canvas throughout all these years, when I thought I was a hot mess, when I had painted a picture of who I was in so many different paintings, showed the world that I was this person and that person and that person, as I painted myself to be separate instead of oneness, as people acted as if I was separate. You know what I mean? I learned to finally pull myself up and understand that there was only one journey for me, and it was to pick myself up and follow that light, because ain't nobody was going to do it for me. Even though I saw myself separate, something inside me told me that I was still special, that I still mattered, that I was here to make a difference, not just for self, but for everyone. As I began to do that, I can sit here today, as I've diving into my temple, into everything that I've learned, to understand no longer am I separate. Today I sit here with so much respect and honor for all that I've learned, because it's oneness. I am oneness. You know what I mean? From feeling that I was always alone, to knowing that my God's angels, ancestors, my passed on loved ones, that I was never alone. Even when I struggled through the darkness and nobody was on my side physically, I literally had a whole team that was on my side. I just didn't understand God or my prayers, my passed on loved ones. I didn't understand it. And at that point, I didn't want to. I made that wise action, that wise step to finally find God, find my faith within self through however God was leading me. You know, I wasn't one for the Bible. I wasn't one for church. So God led me through. You know, I started going back to church a little bit, getting messages there, then reading little bits and studying the Bible with my friend, making those wise choices, trying to understand it, then finding it through astrology, through books, learning to study other religions, just coming out of my comfort zone, learning about astrology, learning palmistry, you know, being led to tarot readings, helping other individuals, being led to the shelters, all those wise decisions that I didn't understand, that I made. I was co-creating with the universe, and here today, years later, I can say that those wise actions have been the best that I ever made, because I'm not only redeeming myself, for myself, I am proud of who I am today, all the struggles, all the darkness. When you would not believe what I looked like back in the days compared to who I am now, I have redeemed myself to God, and now God's going to redeem me for the world. Do you know what I'm saying? When we have put ourselves out there, and that's how everyone remembers us, and other individuals do not want to see that we've gotten better, they're not ready to accept it. God says, we've done that hard work. Do not worry that at the end of the day, God is setting that table, and it's all in divine timing. And not only are they going to have no choice but to accept who we are, the world is going to see us come to fruition. Embodiment, as you embody yourself, as you embody love, as you embody the journey, as you embody that it's hard, as you embody so many things, you finally embody the true meaning of what oneness is, love. You embody so much. It's more than I could ever imagine. I uprooted all the negative that I had put within self, that others put onto me since I was born, since I was a child. Everything that I embodied, I uprooted that negative, and I finally built that healthy tree, and that's me. I embodied strong roots, healthy roots. You know what I'm saying? And now everything is just, it's beautiful. As I uprooted and I rerooted, I followed the calling of my soul. Now that I'm following the calling of my soul, I'm able to lead others out of the darkness and into the light. as I'm growing within self, as I'm leaving the past behind and I'm welcoming the new, as I'm allowing divine timing to come into flow. I am just following the calling of my soul, and I'm sitting here today making a beautiful video and hoping, to just express all that I'm going through. I know it's hard, and I know that at one point I never believed in God, that I was like, yeah, right, get off this video. Like, I'd shut these videos down, you know what I mean? But when I finally had no choice within self, when I knew that it was life or death for me, and I didn't have another way. I mean, it's pretty sad to say that I had to wait till I lost it all, till I was literally on figuring, was this life or death for me to finally turn to God. It's sad that I had to wait until my life got torn into shreds. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I did, because I would have never been able to build a healthy foundation until I totally crumbled my own foundation, because I would have never been able to build healthiness on what everybody else had portrayed me to be. So as I began to be that lone wolf, as I began to heal, and I'm so grateful that my world came crumbling down, I finally found love for self and love for all. And I am so grateful, because finding love for all, finding forgiveness for self, for everyone else, has learned to help me open up my heart to the world, my heart to the universe, my heart to trust, my heart to growth, my heart to being who I was truly meant to be, the heart to believing in what I'm here to really, truly do, the heart to give back to the world, the heart to not hate, the heart to forgive, the heart to love. With being able to understand that oneness is everything to me, that love at the end of the day is all, to be able to put my heart back together at the end of the day, no longer have cracks, to be able to have it all sealed up and put back together, was the best blessing, the best healing, the best gift that God could have ever given me. So as I'm closing out that chapter to the past, and I'm ready to welcome the new, within divine timing, everything is coming to fruition. And at that point, and at this moment, God has fully pieced my heart back together, as I have made the efforts and co-created with the world. I can say today that my heart is no longer glued together. There's no pieces. There's no tape. There's no crazy Gorilla Glue and seeing all the marks. You know what I'm saying? As I've been trying to put that heart back together my whole life, as I took the time to heal myself and find God and find love and find out what the heart truly wanted, what the heart truly means, finding my soul journey, I can say today that as God is blessing me with these true amazing gifts within divine timing, God took my broken heart, all those hanging pieces, all that leftover glue and tape, and He made my heart whole and finally complete. So thank you all for being here with me today, everyone. Love and light, everyone. Take care.